Welcome to GLC TV. And today, I think we know Fairy's in a rough spot, even worse in TCG Live. Something that's been bothering me as I've been playing through the trainer trials, the GLC on TCG Live. So every time I come across somebody who's playing a Fairy deck, they do absolutely nothing, though. Like, their deck just does nothing. Like, it's not even that they struggle to win or close out a game, it's just their deck just does literally nothing. Clearly people want to play Fairy because I keep bumping into people playing it, and I keep thinking, Fairy's really bad, right? But it can't be this bad. It can't be so bad that people literally can't even do anything with the deck and just are a fish. So what I did was I've actually gone in and I've taken a look, what can I do with Fairy? And so for those who don't know, the Fairy type only had two blocks for it. It was in the X and Y block and then the Sun and Moon block. And of course, TCG Live only has Sun and Moon block onwards. So it only has half of what it has in the paper GLC format, which is not much to begin with. But what I've done is and the other problem is there's no Fairy decks on like Cardboard Warriors or anything for TCG Live. Nobody has tried to do this so far that I could see. So I had to go in and kind of do this myself. So this is what I've come up with after really digging through the pink cards in the app to see what we can do. What we're going to be doing here is we've got 4 main attackers. We've got this Guard of War who can do 160 for 3 energy if you played a supporter. Then we've got our Xerneas who can do 130 for 3 Fairy. And then this Wigglytuff for 3 energy can do 140 if you have a specific tool card attached to it called a Fairy Charm. There's actually multiple Fairy Charms in the game, but they all do nothing because they only affect EX and GX Pokemon. So we're going to be playing one. It's very easy to find tools in this format. And then finally, we've got the Mimikyu, same one as the Psychic type. And our support Pokemon are the Shiinotic, which is kind of like a Gabite or the Torterra middle evolution. I can get any Fairy Pokemon from our deck, so it's helpful for setting up. And we've got this Whimsicott, which is sort of like a Le Parfum Roserade in grass, but it's on Fairy instead. And I was running the Cutiefly originally, the one that stops the opponent from gusting your Pokemon while it's on the bench. And that was useful. You see that in a lot of Fairy control decks, especially in stuff like Doll Stall, where the point is you're trying to stall with a Lily's Pokédoll each turn and then recycle that with Diantha so that every time they knock it out, you get it back and they can't gust around it because of the Ribombee. However, when I was trying to use it, it just kind of didn't really do much and it clogged up my deck and my bench space and made it harder to find my other Pokemon, so ended up cutting that eventually. And then one of the things I had to figure out with this deck was, how am I accelerating energy? All of my attackers, except for the Mimikyu, are 3 energy attackers, so I need energy acceleration, and there just is none in Fairy available. They do have a few supporters that are acceleration. Mina accelerates 1 energy, not super great for getting 3 energy attackers going though. So I kind of just went all in on as much trainer energy acceleration as I could get. All the multi-energies, reversal, counter, and then I even added in triple acceleration energy. That's the deck. So the question is, can I win a game with Fairy on TCG Live? Even one game? Let's find out. All right, so our first game here is going to be against a colorless deck. We're going to be going second, and this is going to be an earlier version of the build. So there's a couple of cards that I had not added in yet. So I think I was missing, I hadn't added in a rare candy yet, had not added Galadion, a couple of other things, the triple acceleration and the Gita had not added yet. So definitely doing some optimizing and refining as I went along, but this was a pretty interesting game, so I'm going to include it. Pretty entertaining, I think, back and forth. And opponent, of course, starting off with the Fan Rotom. They've also got that Ditto, which can the transformative start, so it can swap itself out for any basic Pokemon. So pretty useful way to make sure you start with the Fan Rotom. But they did have
It looks like they had it in hand, so they're going to grab, looks like Minccino and a Porygon. Missed the other one, but I believe it was an evolution. And also going to get a fossil with the excavation map. So looks like we're going to be up against an Archeops Porygon build of colorless. And then they're going to use the transform to start to swap out for a Doduo. So going to be a Dodrio as well. Usually you see the other Doduo, but that one's 70 HP, 1 retreat, totally serviceable. And they put the bravery charm on the Rotom, which I thought was interesting. You generally see that saved for like Snorlax, but we'll see how that plays out. So yeah, pretty good start for our opponent. Looking at our hand, we've got a heavy ball, and I don't remember what the other one was. Oh, and a capture energy. And yeah, as you can see, we're still running the Ribombee in this build, so I had not cut that yet, but that does end up getting cut. We do find Jigglypuff in our prizes, but also the Gardevoir is, or the Curlia is stuck in our prizes as well. We don't have the rare candy here, but we do play capture and we find the Morlul. I do try to prioritize the Shiinotic early in the game, so because it helps you set up the rest of the Mons, and then draw with Cottony. And our opponent has the Dodrio, so I believe they did get the Dodrio off the Fan Rotom, and gonna get them more draw. And now since they're doing 40 damage with their Ballistic Beak, they can't KO the Cottony. They do find a Cinccino off of the Great Ball, which is pretty lucky. But, you know, sometimes it works. Great Ball, not a great card in my opinion, and Singleton GLC, even in a restricted card pool, I think there's just better options than Great Ball, but sometimes it works. And they've also got a Starly, so I'm going to be playing a Staraptor. And then I'm going to boss up the Cutiefly, since it is the only thing they can take a knockout with the Dodrio right now. But also kind of just circumvents the Ribombee as well, since the whole point of the Ribombee is to stop boss's orders and similar cards from working. They get the boss out of the way and get the Ribombee out of the way, so worked out pretty well for them. We draw into the Ralts, and I play the counter catcher on the fossil here, the idea being just to kind of stall before I go for the Iono. The reason being that the fossil is the only thing on their bench that can't retreat with 1 energy. They'd have to discard it to get it out of the active, or find the Archon, or have a switch. So trying to stall there, but just so happens that I draw into the Whimsicott as well as a Defiance Band, and the Whimsicott hits 40 for 1 colorless, so with the band it does take the knockout on the fossil, and I get to find any card I want. Now, I think there's an argument to be made that I should have gone for the Marnie here, but I go for the Vessel because I'm trying to prioritize getting the energy. I've mentioned that getting energy out is a challenge for this deck, so trying to get the energy into play for this turn and next turn felt like a good idea, and I end up attaching it to the Wiggly and then taking the knockout with the Whimsicott, going 5-5. And that's nice because now that their excavation map is gone, they can't get the fossil back. So Archeops is out of play completely for this game, which is good because that card is super strong. Interestingly, gonna heal and deal some damage to the Dodrio to draw. So we got Dodrio and Cinccino drawing cards for them. They don't have a KO with the Rotom here. They're 10 short, but with this energy they just played, the Spike energy means that my Whimsicott cannot hit back without getting KO'd, so there's something for them at least. And the nice thing is Whimsicott has free retreat, as well as the Ribombee too, I believe. So I actually think I ended up cutting U-turn board from this build pretty early. I just noticed that either all my guys had either 2 retreat or 0 retreat, so no need for the U-turn board. Is also just clogging up my tool slots on things, trying to retreat them when they were basics. Like, you can't put a tool on the tough because you need to have the room for the charm. You don't really want to put a tool on the Xerneas because you want to have either EXP share on there to suck up energy or a Lux Cape to help it tank and take multiple knockouts. So you see they are playing basic energy. We got a fire, lots of tools, lucky helmet. You know, it's funny when you can draw so many cards each turn. It's like you can run a bunch of garbage in your deck. And it turns out the colorless deck is still just really good, even when honestly that's not a very great version of it. So level ball to grab the Mimikyu. And here we go. So I ended up retreating and going for the Filch, even though I know I'm going to get knocked out. I'm okay with that since I have a lot of comeback cards. A little bit scuffed. I really wish I had put the energy on the Xerneas there the previous turn. That would have made this play a lot cleaner, because then that energy would have gone to powering up Xerneas and he would have been one energy away from attacking. So that would have been better. But I do need to refill my hand here. And that makes Mimikyu one of the better cards in this deck. You know, it can take knockouts with that copycat, but just having that Filch attack to draw cards and fill up your hand, since we don't have the Slurpuff in this card pool, which is Fairy's normal draw engine. And we're gonna take the knockout, and the XP share sucks up that energy onto the Xerneas. Sends out the Whimsicott as the pivot, and I top deck into the Tenacity. Super good top deck there, since now I can go and get the counter energy. Either counter energy or reversal. I think I decided to save the reversal for the Guardy when it comes out. So counter energy on the Wig. And the reason to go with the Wig instead of the Xerneas is that the Xerneas will be able to suck up that energy from the Wig when it gets knocked out. Grab the Shiinotic, which would have grabbed a Kirlia, but grab the Guardy instead. Kind of awkward when you get the Shiinotic out like really late, but sometimes it's just how it happens. And we get to use that 140 attack from the Wig since it has the Fairy Charm attached. And very lucky here, we get the Kirlia off the prizes, off our second prize, so that is good. Discarding the Bidoof. I feel like they just have so much draw going on, they don't even need it. Rare Candy into the Staraptor, which I believe does like 180 for 3 energy. Gonna take a draw with the Dodrio. Gonna be able to take a knockout here on the Wigglytuff, which already had 20 damage on it. Oh, from the Spike Energy. So yeah, that Spike Energy helped the Dodrio take the knockout. It's been doing a clean 100. Cynthia's Ambition, draw 8, just more card draw. But we do have the response KO next turn with the Whimsicott here, because we're going to go down prizes again, and that Dodrio has exactly 70 HP left. Ordinary Rod feels a little premature. I guess they're getting back the Bidoof that they discarded for the Chinchino. Oh, and then Stretcher. I don't even remember this part. It's kind of weird doing these retroactively, because I'm like trying to get back into my headspace of what I was thinking while I was playing. But yeah, Town Store for the TM Evolution. Just kind of thinning the deck, and that makes sense. And then the EXP share puts that energy on the Xerneas, just like we planned. Kind of awkward with the Tough because you can't reuse it. I only run the one charm. I found trying to recycle Toughs is a little too difficult. You generally want to be recycling the Xerneas as your like repeat attacker. So. And then we're going to Town Store for the Luxcape here onto the Kirlia. And then Arvin should have gotten the Scoop Up Net here, I think. I end up getting an Ordinary Rod and Air Balloon. I think I end up cutting the Rod for a Stretcher later, so I can just get the Xerneas back to hand. Yeah, and I just end up shuffling. Yeah, so that was a mistake. I should have just gotten the Scoop Up Net for later. Or I guess I could have waited for the Rod and shuffled the Whimsicott back in, since we're going to be using it to take the knockout on the Dodrio there. Yeah, 170 for 3 energy with the Star Raptor. It's interesting. And then the Noctowl, super interesting as well, taking the 70 damage knockouts and then getting 2 cards into hand from the deck. Pretty cool. Very bird focused deck. Except they've got, you know, Cinchinos and Dunsparce. So yeah, definitely feeling out the deck, learning the lines. I don't know why they go with the Rotom there. Makes more sense to just take the knockout with the Noctowl and then get the 2 cards from your deck. I guess they didn't want to thin because they're down to 8 cards because they've been drawing so many cards. So knockout on the Whimsicott. I could take the knockout with the Mimikyu, but I think I don't have the energy available to do it. So just thinning the hand out here. I think I did end up hunting that Green's Exploration as well. Oh, there's the U-turn. Yeah, that ended up getting cut. Because even like I didn't even want to have it on the Mimikyu all the time, because sometimes I want EXP share on the Mimikyu. So ended up just using the lead attack to get Guzma Hala. So I wasn't able to take a return knockout here. Gonna have to hold off. And there's the triple acceleration energy. I think this is where I was like admiring that. I think this is where I came up with the idea to add it to this deck, since it works really well with the Guardy and the Wigglytuff as sort of just like a bad double colorless. And opponent playing the Buggy Turbo Porygon Z, so gets 2 energy from the discard pile back and takes the knockout on our Xerneas before it can do anything, and we lose 2 energy to that Star Raptor attack. Down to 1 prize. We have a chance here. We just need to take 3 knockouts with this Guardy, which we can since we have Raihan here, and then get the reversal. So reversal energy on the Guardy. With the Lux Cape, if we can tank 2 hits, if we can tank a hit from the Porygon Z and then they don't have a follow-up attack, we could take 3 prizes with the Guardy here. Since that's doing like 120, I think 160, or 200 max if it gets the energy acceleration thing off. So tank a hit, hope they don't have a follow-up. I guess they did have the Noctowl, so, but they have the Gust, so they Gust up, take the knockout on the Mimikyu, and we lost that one. So try again. Definitely got the deck to a better place after this. Next up, we're playing against... Okay, this one we're playing against Darkness. I think at this point, I had mostly got it to where I wanted. I think I just needed Gladion. Oh, maybe I had Gladion already. No, I had Gladion in this one. So take a mulligan. Opponent takes a mulligan. Starting off with Jiggly. And we once again get to check our prizes. We see Guardy and Whimsicott prize, so that is rough. We did add the Gladion this time, and we had the rare candy, but of course, when you prize the Guardy, it's harder with the rare candy doesn't help you. So end up just having to pass with just Jiggly in the active. And opponent has a pretty sweet setup straight into the Weezing with the Guzzlord and the Purloin on the bench, pretty much exactly what they want. Guzzlord definitely hard to beat, but interestingly, and I didn't even realize this, Fairy resists Dark by like 20, so might actually just be enough to help out with this. We do find we're able to get Mimikyu off the Artisan, so that's going to help us hopefully draw some cards if we can find an energy here. And we get the Morlo with the Level Ball, but no energy, unfortunately, so not going to be able to draw with Filch. Now, it's funny because the Weezing is not super impactful to this deck. We have hardly any abilities. I think the only ability we have is Shiinotic. which is one of the big weaknesses of Fairy. Is just the mons themselves don't actually do anything. You have to rely on your trainers. But we do get Ionode into some energy and a Curlia. Oh, I was still running TM Evolution. I think I cut that eventually. There's just too much tools being used. And we got Nest Ball for the Xerneas. Now we've got the full team out, only 6. I don't think I had the Clefairy doll yet for this one, so that's gonna come later. Okay, I wish I had just used the TM Evolution there instead of going with the Ultra Ball. Because I think the Whimsicott was, the Whimsicott was prized. And I can't use the Shiinotic, so yeah, I could have gotten both Shiinotic and Wiggly out there with the TM Evolution, but I forgot about, I think I just forgot about the ability lock. I was thinking it doesn't affect me, but it does affect that play. But I do go get a supporter with the Xerneas, grabbing Iono to refill my hand on the next turn. And the Xerneas is going to be big enough to survive 4 rounds of poison from the Wheezing. So it'll get knocked out coming back to my turn, which is what you want. You don't want it to get knocked out going back to their turn because then they can poison the thing that you bring up before you can do anything. Alright, opponent starts powering up their Guzzlord. And that's going to be a real problem. So I need to find an answer to that. 150 HP. The only thing I have that can hit that hard is the Guardy. Or Xerneas with a Defiance Band. So I do draw into the Gladion. So I think what I was thinking here is I have the Gladion, I can get the Guardy. I need to start powering up this Curlia so I have an answer to this thing. Or else if he runs me over with that, if he takes 2 knockouts with that Guzzlord, I'm cooked. Like, it's over. So that's why I start powering up the Curlia in anticipation of having something to knock out the Guzzlord as soon as it comes in to try to take 2 prizes. I have to have an immediate answer to that. So Escape Rope, though, interestingly. So since Whimsicott is prized, I just feed the Cottony to him, which is going to let him take the knockout with the Hoopa. And we do get Mardian, unfortunately, so I lose that Gladion, so that makes things more complicated. I did search out Avery, so maybe that was too scary of a card to get. Should have gotten something a little less scary with that lead. But they do take the knockout with the Assault Gate, which is nice for me because now my double energy has been unlocked, and I top deck into the Tenacity, which is great. Also, I'm no longer under ability lock, so I can finally get my Tough out of the deck. The Tenacity gets me the reversal energy I need to get the attack off with the Wiggly. And I put the Luxcape on the Curlia here just so that they can't just gust it up and knock it out easily. So that way it's a little bit of an insurance policy to keep from getting knocked out early, because if it gets knocked out before I can attack with it, it's going to be really bad. So, but now I can take the knockout with the Wiggly, 140 with the Charm Slap, thanks to the reversal energy. And I find Guzma Hollow, which is really good. Go find my counter energy and take a response KO. As long as I can keep up in the prize race. The plan here is you go behind on prizes, you keep up in the prize race, and then you get a Luxcaped Guardy out and take 2 knockouts with that before they can take the final prize. That's kind of the general game plan here. So they do send out the Wheezing again. I thought they would go for the KO with the Guzzlord, but I totally forgot that the Wiggly actually has resistance, so he actually needed to weaken it before he could take the knockout with the Guzzlord. But I do take off that. I find the Field Blower to get rid of the Luxcape off their Guzzlord, which is really important. So that way I'll be able to knock it out with either Xerneas or the Guardy. And I don't have an attack here. There's no way for me to power it up, so I just keep powering up the Xerneas since I have the Defiance Band. I think I was a little premature with the Defiance Band. I should have held that a little closer to the chest. because they should not have sent out the Guzzlord here. They should have just let the Wiggly get knocked out by poison and gone to even prizes, and then tried to take the 2 knockouts with the Guzzlord, I think. By sending out the Guzzlord, they've now exposed it for not much benefit, because they're going to be on odd prizes anyway. So now that they've done that, I play the Guzmahala. Unfortunately, I can't get another fairy, so I have to get the counter and use it here. A little bit over invested on the energy with the Xerneas. But with the Defiance Band, I can now take the knockout for 160. And I still have Mimikyu and Guardy. And there's my Whimsicott, although useless now that the Cottony is down. And they can take a knockout with the Spiritomb, I think. They need to do 50. No, actually they can't unless they have a tool. If they have a tool, like a Vitality Band, they could probably take the knockout. I don't remember what they do. And my counter energy is still alive here. So they do the poison. Do I not take a knockout? Oh my gosh, did I not realize that I was still down on prizes? Oh my gosh, that's what it was. I was like, why is the Brighthorns? Oh, that's right. I can't use Brighthorns. I need to switch. That's right. So that's why you can't do it. It's not that I didn't have the energy. It's that Brighthorn says you can't use it the next turn. It has that stupid downside for no reason. And I didn't have a way to get Xerneas out of the active. I mean, I could have retreated it, but I didn't want to just leave it on the bench as an easy KO here. And instead, I needed to get the Guardy in play. So here was my plan here. Use the Xerneas, get Gladion, put Curly in the active with 180. If he poisons it, fine, I evolve. And then I still have 190, and I should be able to take 2 knockouts with it before they can do anything and possibly run them off the board. So that's my plan here. Fortunately, they scoop them net into their pivot. They have the Field Blower for the Lux Cape. Research. And able to get an energy for the Spiritomb to knock out the Kirlia. And they even have the Beast Ring as well for the Guzzlord, which they shuffled back in. Yep, Rainbow Energy on the Spiritomb and knockout on the Kirlia to go down to 1 prize, and that pretty much kills my plan and my chances for a comeback. So that was my game against Dark. I think I just used the Gladion here just to show them like I was going to get the Guardian this turn. And then discard it to show it to them. And then the Spike Concede. Yep. Okay, didn't quite make it there. Let's try one more time. Surely this deck was doing something there, right? It looks like we're cooking. So let's see if we can get there one more try. All right, we're going second this time, and our hand looking very good. We've got Nest Ball and Rare Candy, and we got 2 mulligans and draw into the Gardevoir. So we've got the Nest Ball to get the Ralts. We've got the Morlul and the Evo Incense to start setting up. Just need a Rare Candy basically and some more energy, and we're going to be able to start off pretty strong here. At least that's what it looks like. And yes, 2 mulligans, very lucky, but you know what? I'll take it at this point. It's been pretty tough. I remember the games just kind of barely getting win or loss after loss, and only winning a couple games against folks whose decks didn't really have a plan, so able to just run them over after they took 1 knockout. But unfortunately, we see here that both the Ralts and the Jigglypuff are prized, and the Wigglytuff also missing. So gonna have to pivot here. Instead of going Ralts, we're gonna go into the Xerneas, and we've got a Quick Ball as well, and gonna just discard the Guardy since we know we're not gonna be able to find it to get that online for a while. We do have the Rescue Stretcher in hand, so just gonna put down the Xerneas and get the Cottony, since we can get the Whimsicott next turn with the Shiinotic, and just gonna have to start trying to power up this Xerneas. Opponent is playing a Dragapult Psychic deck, so very annoying to have to face against. And I've noticed it's been a pretty popular version of Psychic that I've seen on the trainer trials. The main way to try to beat it is you want to try to knock out the Dreepy before it can become a Dragapult as often as you can. Really pressure their Pokemon recovery, because if they set it up twice, it's kind of an issue. But yeah, we do Evo Incense for the Shiinotic and then Cynthia away the hand. Grab the Mimikyu, and then we can actually just get the Eldegoss here. The problem is, or not the Eldegoss, the what's it called, Whimsicott. What do you get? Because we can't use our supporter, so might want to just get either an energy or get the Hisuian Heavy Ball. Oh, I did get the Air Balloon. That makes sense to pivot. Oh, and then of course pivot into the Xerneas. And get the Luxcape on there and able to lead for a supporter. So probably the Chorus Tenacity or Marnie makes sense, but yeah, Chorus Tenacity I think is the right play here. I can get Artisan with this play, and then get an energy, any basic energy with the Tenacity as well. Start taking knockouts. I think I should run maybe more switches to allow Xerneas to be able to attack consecutively. Super annoying that it has that restriction on the Brighthorn's attack, but that's just how the cards were back then. So we've got a Gengar coming down from the discard pile, which is going to allow the Munkidori to send the damage over to the Xerneas. And the nice thing about this is, and yeah, I'm fighting my battery here. I was actually out on a walk hoping I could finish this game. Psychic Recharge off the Malamar. And the interesting thing about this interaction here is that if they take a knockout here with either Munkidori or this Gengar, which places damage counters, they actually don't get the extra prize from the Luxcape. Something they need to keep in mind. So, just going to use the Colress's Tenacity to get the energy I need to attack with the Xerneas. And I decided to hold off on playing the Town Store because I noticed they're playing a lot of tools, and so I don't need anything right now. So I don't want to give them access to anything extra, like if they have another Cape of Toughness or something that would make their Munkidori harder for me to knock out, which I would like to knock out. Thing is really annoying, especially with the Gengar coming back over and over again. So do take the first knockout, and I am ahead in prizes, which is not really what the deck is designed for, but we'll take the prizes where we can get them. And then, of course, the Gengar just comes right back and puts 30 more damage with the Munkidori onto my Xerneas. And opponent's going to switch into the Munkidori. They did have another Cape of Toughness that they drew into with the Cynthia, and I think that was a really good play because I can't knock out this monkey with 130. They hit me with 60, so it brings them closer to getting the knockout through the Luxcape. And the confusion makes it really annoying for me. And if I do try to attack, I'll just put monkey damage on their monkey, and it'll be damage for them to fling at me for the rest of the game. But luckily, I do have the Guzma, and it was a bit of a choice between going after the Malamar, the Dusclops, or the Dreepy. But I think ultimately I decided that the Malamar was the highest value here, as it was giving them a lot of extra energy each turn, and it was unevolved. So it would take them multiple turns to get back versus the Dreepy, they could get it back right away, and the Dusclops is not really giving them any extra value each turn. So that's why I went for the Malamar as my target to take the knockout with the Xerneas. And now up 2 prizes here. Again, not where this deck is really meant to be. And unfortunately, I don't really have a great backup attacker. I do have an EXP share on the Mimikyu, but nothing really good to copy. Really need to find either that Ralts or that Jiggly that's stuck in the prizes. And they are going to pop the Duskull, which puts me down 3 prizes. Finds the Jigglypuff. Of course, I still need to find the Wiggly, which is also in the prizes. And then that Gengar finally able to take the knockout there. But like I said, when you put damage counters on something with a Lux Cape, you don't actually get the 2 prizes. It has to be actual damage from the attack. So only getting 1 prize for that knockout. But it also means I don't get the experience share trigger either. So no extra energy on this Mimikyu, though I wouldn't be taking the knockout if I use the Mimikyu here. So gonna get the TM Turbo Energize with the Town Store, but unfortunately we don't have any energy to use with it. Oh, I guess we do have the Mina there, so gonna just go ahead and free retreat. No, scoop up. Yeah, that makes sense. Scoop it up so we can use that ability again. And then we're gonna try and TM Turbo Energize. And it looks like we did get the Wiggly. I missed that off the prizes, so down to just 3 prizes left. And I'm gonna TM Turbo Energize. Unfortunately, we only had 1 left, but I think it still made sense to do that move. We don't want to really be doing anything else. Didn't make sense to try to put 60 damage on the Gengar, because then they're just going to fling it back at us with the Munkidori. So I'm really trying hard not to leave damage counters on their board. I just want to take knockouts. I don't want to leave any damage lying around on their board for them to fling back at us. And they are going to go for the boss's orders on the Mimikyu here, which does get knocked out by the Gengar. So Mimikyu goes down, still up a prize, and I draw into the counter energy. And I believe I have, oh, that's right, I can Eldegoss here, so I know I can Eldegoss for the triple acceleration energy I need to get the knockout here. But I actually don't need to go straight for it. I can actually pivot into it with Raihan and get an extra energy, and also get that Raihan out of my hand, like out of my deck, in case we'll come to a point where I can't use it. You know, the lower you get in prizes, the more important it is to get your Raihan off. And then able to take the knockout with the fairy attack, the Charmed Slap. And only temporary though. Now we're gonna have to find a way to get 2 more energy onto this Wigglytuff. And there comes the Gengar right back. So it's nice that they have this Gengar that we can knock out over and over with our weaker attacks. It is annoying, of course, that it keeps coming back. So they want to have that Gengar be the one that gets knocked out. But you know, we're kind of farming prizes on it, so not too bad, I think. But now we have a bit of a problem since we are ahead in prizes. This counter energy is not going to be providing fairy energy, so it's not going to be helping Wigglytuff attack, and not going to be helping Xerneas with its attack, since it can't use any colorless energy for that 130 attack. So we don't want to use Expand for 30, because again, that's just more damage that you're going to send on to our guys. In fact, if we use Expand, they'll get a free prize with Munkidori, so we don't want to do that. So I actually go for the Lana's Aid, and then I realize I need 2 fairy energy, and I have none left in play. And I go just straight up, I need 2 fairy energy. I cannot afford to get back this Mimikyu, which is not going to do anything for me. I'm just going to get back the Gardevoir, power up the Xerneas, so I have a way to get this knockout. And then my second knockout to take the second prize is going to be off the Gardevoir. So taking the Gardevoir and the 2 fairy energy is my route to victory here. Let them knock out the Wigglytuff. I take the knockout with the Xerneas, and then get the Guardy powered up, get the Ralts off the prizes with the Gladion, and get it powered up to take the last prize. So that's my route to victory. I've got the Kirlia, I've got the Guardy. Guardy only needs 1 fairy energy, and then I can power it up with the capture and the counter energy. Now, of course, they play a training court, so it ends up not mattering here. And very smart play. Instead of taking the knockout with the Gengar, they actually retreat it with a U-turn board, so they can take the knockout with Munkidori, which doesn't get knocked out by Xerneas. So, and if I attack it with Xerneas, again, they're just going to send that damage back at me to be able to take the knockout. So Gladion here gets the Ralts. I send out the Whimsicott as a pivot. They can't knock it out currently. There's no energy on the Dracloak. The Gengar and the Monkey cannot knock it out. So I just leave it up there to take a Monkey attack. And I just need 2 more turns after this, and then I can get Guardy out there. So energy, there's the Dragapult. So they've got the energy on the Dragapult. So next turn they are threatening. Hindsight, I wish I had retreated this Whimsicott into the Shiinotic to take that attack, because right now, unfortunately, they can take the knockout. They can take a double knockout if they can get the Shiinotic up with the Dragapult, but I draw into the Clefairy Doll. So I can stall them out for 1 more turn here with the Clefairy Doll. They are going to get the knockout with the Dragapult on the Whimsicott on the bench. Again, I wish I had tanked with the Shiinotic instead of the Whimsicott there. And I'm going to have to get a lucky coin flip, because if I don't, they can't quite knock me out with the Dragapult. But a Gust could be the end here. So Gardevoir, yep, any energy will do. I think I decided to save the reversal just in case. Although I should have kept, maybe I should kept it. I don't know. It doesn't matter here. Iono them down to 2. And we gotta flip. We gotta get the coin flip here. Come on. Tails! We got the knockout. Oh my gosh. I mean, it's a 50-50, but we really needed that knockout here. Now, they could send out their Pheasantipity and try to stall, but otherwise we have the knockout for the last prize, and I don't think they have anything else. They could have stalled for the last one and just tried to power up the Pheasantipity and hope they got lucky, but they end up just leaving the Clef out there. This was a super long game. You can tell our clocks are very low. I'm imagining maybe they just wanted to let it end. And I think we had it either way. Even with the Pheasantipity, we probably had it. And we take our last prize card and we get our victory with Fairy. So everybody, that's the Fairy deck. Thanks for watching. I hope you try it out if you're interested in playing Fairy, and we'll see you for the next one.